Hey folks, welcome back to Dustin Disc, and in this video I played my second tournament of the year here in 2021. I kind of signed up for this a little bit last minute, so I didn't really discuss it in any of the previous videos, and I didn't really even have time to put a practice round video together like I did before my first tournament, as again this is kind of came up. And I decided to play it. Now, this was at Medal of Honor Park or Cottage Hill Park or The Hill. It was 2 rounds. It was a kind of fundraiser tournament for a bigger event that's going on in April called, I think, the Southside Smackdown. This is called the Southside Throwdown. So it's 2 rounds here at The Hill. And while I'm not going to be showing you every single shot of the tournament, I am going to be showing you a good bit of the shots from both rounds. And I didn't nitpick all the best shots, and do like a crazy just highlight reel of all my, successes. I also put some failures in here just to be realistic. But again, I didn't, put every single shot in this video. Otherwise, it would have been super long. In the intermediate division again, or MA2, I think there was about 12 or so players in my division for this tournament. And yeah, so here's the opening hole of the first round. A pretty simple little straight shot through this tunnel. Just need a little bit of fade at the end of the flight as well to get towards the baskets. The baskets are right behind that last group of trees on the left. And as you can see, I was able to put this right under the basket. First hole of the tournament, so I'm pretty happy. Got the CTP on the card. Having a little bit of fun there. Might as well laugh a little bit when you can. Now we get to the actual 2 hardest holes on the course on this first round. So 13 is one of the easier ones, but 14 and 15 are definitely a couple of tougher ones. On this one, you really got to push pretty far. I think this is like 350, 400-ish foot shot, and you basically need to push a forehand that's going to get to this right-hand side to kind of give you an approach towards the basket. And I put too much flex on this forehand, unfortunately, and got way off the fairway. As the fairway is kind of more on the right side. As you can see, I'm more on the left side. So now I have a pretty tough little scramble shot here to try to get myself back on the fairway for a chance at something. And I did a nice little Anheuser forehand with my Justice and put myself in really good position. Right now I'm just trying to save a bogey at this point, as this is a par 3, but this is a really far par putt, as you can see. I gave it a bit of a chance, actually.
Oh boy, if that would have went in.
Put myself in pretty easy position, though, to get the bogey. So this puts me at even at this point in the round. A little bit of a spoiler alert, but, I do make this putt, which I would hope since it was about 10 feet. All right, next hole. Okay, so this is the hardest hole in the course by far. If you've watched the other video I did here, basically you need to get through this gap. Like, this is basically the only gap that you have. I guess you could get lucky and go through this gap here. And then you need something that's going to either just fade off to the left once it gets, all the way down, because this is basically like an L, where the basket's, way over here. And so you're basically trying to go up here and then take a steep right. And so basically you either want a forehand that's going to go through here, go left at first, and then flex back to the right to get kind of like an S-turn flight to actually get on the bend here to approach the basket, as this is a par 4 actually, 424 feet. So that's the only way you can really birdie, is if you get like a perfect flex forehand down this lane, or you can play a bit safer and just get something to nestle in over here in the left corner towards where the red tee box is, which you'll see in a minute, and that can set you up for an approach as well to set up for maybe still a birdie, but definitely still set yourself up for a nice par. But this is a very tough hole, definitely the toughest hole in the course. And I got through that further left side gap.
I couldn't tell if it came out.
But still didn't really make the bend, so now I just have to kind of scramble a bit to get myself back on the fairway, which I was able to do here. And now it's just kind of a flex forehand to get back up there to save my par on this hole. And I didn't flex it enough, as you can see, so it faded out a lot. And it put me way down here in kind of this ravine area where I really did not have much of a look at all. A lot of stuff in my way, and I was putting uphill and, a decent distance away from the basket. So I gave it a bit of a chance, but that's a bogey on that hole. So this is a tough hole for me because it's a little bit downhill and the tee pad's kind of short, and it's hard for me to get my footing right on this shot. I struggle with this hole a lot. And that's a more understable mid-range for me, and I was expecting it to flip up and ride a little bit to the right, but it just kind of rode straight, and it put me in this position, bro. This was me all day, having to make really tough scramble shots out of the woods. I was really struggling off the tee. My putting and such was pretty good, but really struggling off the tee, and so you can't see it here. I had to throw through a really small window here. Basically, I had to pitch over a vine and through a bunch of other branches and such, and the hole that I could throw the disc through was quite small. It was maybe like 2 feet wide, 2 feet high, so I really had to put some finesse on this forehand to try to get out of these woods. So this is definitely a tough one for me, but I made it happen. A really good scramble right under the basket to save the par on this hole, actually. This is a pretty straightforward straight shot, and I just threw this disc way too high and didn't flex it enough, and so I faded way off to the right. And so this set me up for a really tough Anheuser straddle putt from, I don't know, 60 away. And that was a huge birdie for me, and just a crazy putt. It was just kind of crazy because I'm not good at straddle putting. I had to put some Anheuser on this disc to get around these trees on the right-hand side, and this was a big putt to hit early in the tournament round. Really happy with that. All right. Here we go. Basically, on this hole, the basket is between these two trees, right? So this is a down tree that fell during a storm a while back, but they left the stump in place, and this stump is pretty tall. I would say the stump is probably somewhere between 5 and 6 feet high. Most stumps are obviously really cut down low, but this stump, for whatever reason, they left a good portion of it there to still be an obstacle. Then you have this tall tree there, and so basically you can either go between the trees, you could go just to the right of this big stump, but you chance hitting some of this stuff over here, or you could maybe play a forehand to the left of this tree and have it come in. But all in all, a pretty straightforward shot.
Oh, freaking stupid.
I'm so sad about this, by the way. Like, if we just freeze frame it here, I mean, this is online to maybe even ace the hole, or at the very least be right under the basket. And I mean, it's just so close to being perfect, and I just caught the edge.
Freaking stupid. Why is it still there? It's a down tree. Get rid of it.
As you could tell, I was very happy about hitting that tree. Also, I knew the guys on this card, so we were all cool with, like, you know, having some extra thoughts and stuff. As I threw a good shot there, got through the gap, but you need a ground action on this hole to skip towards the basket, and I threw a putter, so I didn't get any skip. So really long birdie putt, and I didn't get there. I was able to get the par there. So we'll skip the hole. We go to hole 3. Really tough forehand through the woods to get up to the basket here. Usually your options are to throw a flex forehand that's going to ride left here after this tree and then come back right, but there's kind of a maze of trees that you could hit. The other play is kind of a backhand turnover that will go straight, go a little bit right down this lane, and then fade left at the end of the flight towards the basket. It's probably the shot that'll give you the best chance not to hit anything and get down there. That's kind of the intended gap, but I try to go for the flex forehand gap. And unfortunately for me, on this disc way back to the right, it caught a tree and it stopped it from going back right towards the basket. So
it's going to come out. Just hit a tree.
Sets me up for a really long putt where I have to go through a bunch of trees, and I never really got the height on that disc to give it a chance, but I'll get a par again there. Now this hole, basically the basket's kind of over here. So essentially you either need to throw a forehand up the gut here towards this big tree and have it go to the right, or you can throw a turnover backhand and essentially do the same thing where it's going to go up here to the right of this red pin and then fade to the right towards the basket. And so I tried to go at the backhand turnover shot, and I just over cranked it to the right.
What?
I needed a more subtle turn to the right. And so I think I wound up getting a bogey on this hole because I just got in a maze of trees. We skip hole 5. We're on hole 6. And essentially this hole, you could play a forehand to the right, but you really have to push it straight for a long time first and have a subtle fade to the right. Otherwise, you're not going to get down to the basket. It is like 400 and something feet away. It's a really tough par 3. Or you could throw what I'm trying to do, which is a backhand turnover to try to get that extra distance that maybe you won't get with a forehand if you're not a forehand dominant player that can get a lot of distance on the forehand, which my forehand distance is definitely lower than my backhand distance. So I was trying to, give this a chance with a little bit of a backhand turnover. And I just let go early.
No.
Instead of sewing getting in the fairway lane, I hit some trees, but I did get a really good second kick, so it gave me a chance to forehand up to the basket.
Okay, that was a good shot.
It's skipping.
And I did skip, but not enough. So this is my putt for par. I had to straddle around the tree here. Yikes.
Oh.
Definitely too far to the right, so no par for me. Another bogey there. This is a pretty straightforward shot. Just going to get something that goes to the right, gets around this tree.
I like it. I'm loving it. Oh, I thought it was going to be past that.
Y'all all nice me. All of you. Collective nice.
I'm jamming.
I am
thought it was
sorry.
a hole, I'm not gonna lie.
So if you're not like a disc golf person, basically there's like kind of this superstition where when you let go of your disc, if someone says, "Oh, nice shot" or something before your disc settles, then they jinx it and it's gonna like hit something or mess up. And so everyone thought it looked good and were getting ready to congratulate me, and were starting to congratulate me on a nice shot, and then obviously it came up short. I hit the tree and didn't get there because that set me up for this putt between some trees, which I did get between them, but it was a touchy one. Well, this is a couple holes later.
It's not supposed to be staying.
Pretty simple shot, but I just had way too much fade on that backhand, so I wound up taking a par on that hole. And the very next hole, very touchy short tunnel shot here.
Keep going left a little bit longer. Oh, good kick.
I got an amazing kick on that tree on the right-hand side. Set me up for this birdie putt. And so I was able to get that. So that's one of the birdies I had this round. I think I had like 3 birdies this round.
No.
But there was also bad. And that was one of my worst shots. I just figured I'd throw that in there just to let you know that, it wasn't all unicorns and rainbows for me this round. I had my ups and my downs, mostly downs. And so I wanted to show you this because, again, I don't want to just, like, show you only the best stuff and try to lie and act like I played amazing. Like, no, I definitely had holes where I played really badly. And so this is one of those shots where I needed a backhand turnover. So I tried to throw, like, a flippy disc that would go straight and turn right to go down this fairway to give myself a chance to at least get an easy par and maybe set up for, like, a long birdie putt. And I just had really bad form here, let go late. And it went right way too early, and I hit a bunch of trees, and I basically had to scramble out of a really tough position there, and I think I got like a bogey or a double bogey on that hole. So needless to say, after round 1, I shot 8 over par on the round, which is really terrible. I would say my average score at this course when I play it, like for practice or just for fun or whatever, is probably like 2 over. I've shot I think the lowest score I've ever had on that course is like between 4 and 6 under par. And so that round I shot 8 over par. So really, really bad. I kind of knew I was out of contention at that point to get to like top 3, which basically you need to place in the top third of a division to get any kind of payout, which in this case would have been like free disc. It wouldn't have been money or anything like that. So I knew I was essentially out of contention unless some people royally screwed up in like the lead card and stuff like that. So basically the second round, I'm just trying to focus on playing better than I did in the first round. I want to try to shoot closer to the scores that I'm used to seeing on this course for my level of play in a wooded course like this. And so I try to just keep my composure, put that round aside. I had a lot of other really bad shots I didn't show here, but I wanted to try to keep this video a little bit shorter. So trying to recover here in round 2. That was an unfortunate slip, which caused me to push the disc left more than I wanted. But still had a good birdie putt here. This is actually the second hole of round 2. I bogeyed the first hole that we played. So I'm at +1.
Nice.
This birdie puts me at even. Very next hole.
If you beat me.
And this time I hit the tree on the left
So good.
instead of the stump on the right. And I'm just disgusted. It sets me up for a really tough birdie putt here where I'm by like a log. And so here's the thing. in disc golf, you're allowed to move anything behind your lie that's dead and unattached. So you can move like leaves, pine straw, twigs, you know, just stuff that might be in your way, right? And so this, I mean, I don't even know why I tried. I'm not moving that log. That thing's massive. So it makes me have to straddle putt, which again, I am not very comfortable straddle putting. Here, we can get my commentary live about it.
Oh, let's straddle putts. They're so fun. Give me more of them, please.
You can tell I'm happy.
Go in. What a putt.
Huge. So that's 2 birdies in a row. That puts me at 1 under for the round. Very next hole. This time I adjusted through something that would have more ground action, and I skipped up there nicely.
No, you should be closer.
Now, unfortunately, we did not catch the putt on that, but I did birdie it as well, so that's 3 birdies in a row, so now at 2 under on the round so far. And that's a turkey in disc golf that we call it. I think you would call it like a turkey because of bowling. I think normal golf calls it a hat trick, same as like, you know, football or soccer, depending on what region you're from. So yeah, I got 3 birdies in a row. First time I've ever done that in a tournament or league play. So that was kind of like a cool, like, little milestone, I guess you could say, to get my first tournament turkey in disc golf. So yeah, three birdies in a row. I'm at 2 under on the round. And now we're at the on hole 2, I think I bogeyed, if I'm not mistaken. So now we're back at hole 3. And again, I'm going to show you the good and the bad. And so here we go.
Oh.
Nice little
I've
double
seen
tree
somebody
kick.
hit both those trees.
Playing a little pinball. So you know that put me in a really tough spot where I really had no chance to recover. And so I wind up bogey in that hole. So that's, you know, really hurting my score. And now we're at this hole 4 again. And I just barely missed that tree to the right.
I thought I was hitting that tree right there when I let go of it.
Yeah, I would like to actually see how close I am, like, selfishly, so you guys get to see too, I guess. I mean, that is so close to this tree right here. I barely missed it. And thanks to barely missing it, I basically got the perfect line to the basket.
I thought I was hitting that tree right there when I let go of it.
Good shot, man.
So it sets me up for like a really easy birdie putt on this hole. So I'm having a pretty good start to this round. Like, I've had a couple of bogeys. I think at this point, I've had 2 bogeys and 3 birdies. And so this gives me a 4th birdie. So that puts me at, I think, 2 under on the round or something at this point. We skipped hole 5, which I bogeyed. So now I'm at like 1 under at this point. This is that same turnover hole that I tried to do the backhand turnover in the first round, and I wound up letting go early and hitting over here. So this time I decided to go for the forehand play, just because my backhand was feeling off, generally speaking. And this one just drifted a little bit too far to the left, man. It almost stayed perfectly dead center of the fairway and would have gave me a good chance at getting down, but it set me up really shallow. I think I wound up bogey in that hole as well, just like I did in the first round. And so now I'm trying to get redemption on this hole. As you'll remember, I threw a forehand that hit this tree.
I didn't say anything this time.
Thought I did it again. I was like, oh.
So sets up for a pretty routine birdie putt for me. This makes me disgusted just rewatching it. The thing is, I was putting pretty well throughout this whole tournament, but this was maybe one of like 2 circle 1 putts I missed all day. And this one really hurt because this should have been another birdie on the card, and I wound up taking a par this hole, which was kind of depressing. And again, I wanted to show you the good with the bad, and this was the bad. I'll just roll it. Now, when I say that was bad, I mean, part of it was definitely me throwing poorly, but also I did slip off the front of the tee pad because this tee pad's kind of short and awkward again. And if you notice, I kind of slip off. Like, my plant is off the front of the tee pad. So this is actually a foot fault, but no one on my card called it. So this should have been a foot fault, for one. And so part of it is me just misjudging. But obviously, when I step down, this elevate changes my whole body and causes me to just release poorly. So I should have been called for a foot fault here by my card. No one noticed. I can't call it on myself. I thought I slipped off the front of the tee pad as I was letting go of the disc, which wouldn't have been a foot fault. That just would have been slipping off the tee pad, unfortunate. But I actually just planted in front of the tee pad. So this is a penalty, but no one called it on me. So this was rough. Yanked it right into a tree. So I wound up getting like a bogey on that hole as well or something. A couple of holes later. Just do a perfect forehand up the gut to set up this birdie putt here. So good birdie putt there. And this is the first hole I played in round 1. I think this is hole 13 then, because we started on 16. So we have 2 more holes after this, basically. And once again, I didn't get the drive on film, but I once again parked this basket. So I was really consistent on this hole, at the very least. So it sets me up for another birdie putt. And I was able to get it. So this basically ends my tournament. I shot a 3 over or a 2 over on this round. I can't remember which. I know I had like 6 birdies on the round. I had several bogeys. I had 1 double. So I definitely had an up and down round again, but I did improve. It was nice that I was able to keep my composure, shake off the first round, realize, hey, I'm probably not in contention, but I can still try to go out there and try to improve and try to prove to myself that I can do better. And I was able to do that. And I think I actually moved up a couple of spots on the ranking for the tournament because of this round. All in all, I was pretty happy with the tournament in the sense that I was able to recover in the second round. I was really disappointed with my first round. I made way too many mistakes. And, you know, just I learned what I needed to work on, though, which is nice. You know, first thing, I need to work on my backhand form off the tee. I'm really struggling in a lot of different areas, which maybe I can show in a different video. I don't want to, like, take up more time on this video. But essentially, my plant foot is wrong. It's angled incorrectly. I'm angling it towards my target instead of angling it more parallel, maybe even more, like, backwards away from the target. And it's causing my hips to open up before I even start throwing the disc. So I'm not really getting any of my lower body into the throw, which is really severely cutting down on my distance and consistency of release. I'm also picking up my head too early. Like, I'm trying to want to look at the target and look where the disc is going before I've fully completed my follow through. And me lifting my head up early is throwing my body off balance. It's causing me to be inconsistent on my release timing, and it's causing me to sometimes release late. And it's also sometimes causing my disc to be nose up. Also, my spine angle is bad. You know, I'll start a little bit leaned over, and then as I throw, I kind of stand up straight, and that angle change is also causing some release issues with the disc and angle of the disc and things of that nature as well. So I need to work on my plant foot. I need to work on being more upright instead of being so leaned over, and I need to not look up early. So that's like 3 big things I need to work on with my backhand form, what I'm going to be trying to doing some field work and stuff going forward. I may even throw like a video on the channel of me doing some field work, trying to tackle those problems and trying to show you what I'm talking about. As I feel like people planting their foot wrong is a kind of common error that a lot of players make. And wanting to look at the target early is also another big thing. Like, people picking their head up early is another kind of common mistake, I think, for a lot of people. So maybe that'll be some instructional content or something that other people out there will enjoy watching. So maybe I'll do like a fieldwork video where I talk about me trying to fix my backhand form and stuff like that. The other thing I know I need to practice from this is I need to work on my straddle putting. You know, I don't use it often, but I do use it enough to where I need to actually practice it. I don't ever practice straddle putting. I just practice my normal putt. So practicing my straddle putt, I think, would be a huge benefit to me for when I do need to pull it out in certain situations where footing is awkward or I'm behind an obstacle, whatever the case would be. I need to be more comfortable with my straddle putt, particularly within like that 20 foot range or so of the basket. So yeah, at least I learned what I need to work on, and I was able to improve in my second round from my first round. And so there's some positives to take away, and I take it as a fun experience. I mean, there's a couple of guys on my card that, you know, I know from previous tournaments, and so we had a good time. We were joking around, you know, being friendly towards one another. When I would get upset, it was kind of like in a playful way, and so we all kind of laughed off like our bad shots and stuff like that. So it was like a good vibe, you know, on the card, you know, so that was really cool as well. But anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please follow, subscribe, leave a comment, help feed the algorithm, help the channel grow. At this point in time, when I release the video, I'm nearing 500 subs on the channel. I'm not sure at what point you'll see this video, but in the now, you know, putting this out, that's where I'm at. And you'll see more content coming soon. So again, thanks a lot. Catch you next time.